That darn button. That darn button. It's right in front of me every single time. Every single time. All right, so here we go. Take two. Tim Huther. Number 2, Bradley Collins. No, Tim Huther. Number 1, Bradley Collins. Number 2, Deanna, you are deterred. We got Will Smith, Anthony, and where we got here? Alrighty, then Canada Goomba. That's my Italian stallion friend right there. What do we got here? And Andy popped in here. You guys know you got sound. I got sound now. Let's see here. Turn on the microphone. Duh. 5x5 now. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to be getting into a little bit of deep. We're going to be doing like a little deep dive here because there's some stuff that's kind of going on, and as usual, you guys know I don't like the doom and gloom and people reading the news and things like that. But we've had a couple of things that have popped up. Hey, Sean, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. We've had a couple of things that have popped into the news today, kind of relevant, kind of like, well, I'm just getting in. Think I'm late. You're just doing the announcements. Yeah, well, the announcements. Today at the lunchroom, we'll be having no announcements are taking place. Typical Thursday night, taking care of a little bit of liquid refreshments going on there. But so we've got a little bit of a situation that is that happened today. If you guys are not privy to the news, I'm not going to read the news to you today, but basically earlier today, first we had the Michigan synagogue attack, and it was basically what they're calling a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. That's a statement from the FBI. Some jackwagon who they haven't really talked about who he is yet. I don't think they've actually released his name yet, but he's dead. He got unalived. As the story goes, he drove his pickup truck through the front door of a very large synagogue, drove it down the hallway, but apparently no one's paying attention, and they don't know that specifically with the Jewish synagogues, they now have armed security. Sometimes they're paid for, sometimes they're volunteers, but they're almost always armed and dangerous. So yeah, he did hit the chief of security with his vehicle, but in turn he got unalived by a couple of the security agents inside of the synagogue. Like I said, they don't really know much about who he is just yet because apparently the vehicle was on fire. He was in the vehicle. I don't know if he's a crispy critter or not. There's just no real information coming out of that story. But the story that came behind that was the someplace near and dear to my heart, ODU, the Old Dominion University. Apparently another very well motivated. They won't know. We won't know yet until they get their hands on his iPad and his his phone and his laptop computer or whatever. And then it'll come out tomorrow. We'll know tomorrow. But basically he got himself unalived today too. He decided to walk into the one of the basement classrooms in ODU. If you guys don't know where that is, that's down my neck of the woods in coastal Virginia. It's in Norfolk, and he decided to walk into this room full of ROTC guys, ROTC, and say, "Hey, is this the ROTC room? Is this ROTC? Oh, why, yes, it is." Boom, 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 boom. He's just opened fire. The news just came out that apparently this was the wrong room to go after, and a couple of them jumped on him, and another one actually stabbed him to death. I do know that there are 2 that are dead now. They were supposedly ROTC instructors, so they're either retired or active duty members of the military. And there were a couple more that got wounded, but yeah, that guy just went and got himself unalived all by his lonesome. Oddly enough, he his name is Jalone. Jalloh, Jalloh, Jalloh. And, you know, he's from another country, and he's a naturalized citizen. Oh, by the way, I don't know, 2016, 2017, he got himself arrested and put in prison for 11 years for providing material aid to ISIS, ISIL. Yeah, so yeah, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. And oh, by the way, when he got out, oh, when did he get out? He got out in 2014. And who was running the show in 2014? Captain Blue Tie and his crazy administration. Yeah, it was it's a major shit show, and yeah, we're all taking a bite out of that sandwich right there, man. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And so it really has to make us wonder who is the next all colors 30 minutes. We're going to go with 1 hour. Sorry, had to do something. Boom. And it really makes you wonder about these whole this whole idea of terrorist attacks in Iran and all these other things. But what we're running into is lone wolf attacks. I'm pretty sure today it was just, I don't think there was a series of numbers that were transmitted out of Iran from some HF tower in the middle of nowhere that basically said, hey, time to activate the sleeper cells. And anybody in the tube prepper world who is saying that kind of stuff is dumb. They're just dumb. They watch one too many Russian movies, and yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. Tim sent me $1. That's everybody give Tim a thumbs up. Appreciate you, bro. So it's kind of crazy. Oh, Alan, thank you very much. Are you going to dollar me to death, Tim? Is that the plan? Meeting gold by 1,000 cuts. I don't care. Thank you anyway. I appreciate it, bro. You can send me 22 cents. I'd be happy. But these people that are talking about sleeper cells and the series of numbers that got transmitted via HF radio from Iran and all this other stuff, I would, you know, it's really easy for our brains to get kind of wrapped around that level of foolishness. Tim, tube preppers suck. Tim, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated, my friend. Greatly appreciated. And so there's a lot of that going around. There's one in particular. I won't say his name. He's here in the United States, but he's not like, let's just say the part of the United States that he's in isn't the big part. And that's all I'll say about that. The sleeper cell thing it's kind of a joke. It's kind of a joke. And the reason is because there's just, we have too many. Tim, get yourself under control, my friend. Are you trying to see how many colors in the rainbow you can make? But in order to make something like that work here in America, it's extremely difficult because the second these people pop their heads up, the second they say something on social media, the second they're on Facebook, the second their cell phones go off, there's somebody watching, there's somebody listening. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to be said for Big Brother these days, you know? And so what we should be more conscious of are these either newly radicalized or long-time radicalized individuals who believe all of this crap. So basically, 10 days ago, we had that one guy get himself unalived. You know, he's got his AR and his freaking Iranian flag T-shirt and that kind of stuff, right? So that's what we're going to be running into. And I wanted people to understand basically statistically, okay? Why does it keep showing different amounts? According to this, you donated $20 and then you donated $10. That's That's how I'm reading it. That's how I'm reading it. If you need any of this back, let me know. We'll figure it out, bro. Anyway, so statistically, guys, so what, I mean, there are lots of papers on what a lone wolf a terrorist is, okay, and how often they do things, but basically, like, lone wolf terrorist attacks are they are a dominant and rising threat here in the United States. Tim Huther, $5. You just did it again, bro. You did it again. What are you doing, Tim? I think you're messing with me at this point. But they're a growing threat here in the United States, but here's the thing: is statistically they represent about 93% of the total terrorist attacks in the West. Over Bradley Collins. But Julie, some more snacks. Julie needs more snacks. Oh man, you don't even want to know about that one, man. She went through like 3 of those little flats of mini candy bars between yesterday and today. Her sweet tooth is out of control. But roughly about 93% of the terrorist attacks in the West over the past 5 years have happened with lone wolf preppers. But Julie, some more snacks. Didn't you just do that a second ago? Oh no, whenever I click on the target, it keeps showing different numbers. Maybe my phone is screwed up. I don't know, Tim, but you need to stop doing that because you keep giving me money when you do that. I don't know why. It's a trick. Gotcha, bitch. But basically, like, large scale organized attacks are always going to be less frequent, and the threat of radicalized people operating independently, often targeting either government or public sites is actually high. So 93% of all the terrorist attacks in the last 5 years have been a lone wolf. UK Prepper, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. And the thing is the FBI identifies them as lone actor attacks, and they're unfortunately becoming more common than group coordinated attacks. And we kind of need to be paying attention to this a little bit because, as we're finding out today, they can kind of happen anywhere they want to, but obviously they're targeting specific areas or a specific group of people. In today's attack, I honestly don't remember who that. If you remember who the target was in that attack that happened 10 days ago with the guy with the Iranian flag T-shirt, put that in the chat. Put that in the chat for me. Also, if you guys haven't hit that thumbs up button, please do so now. While I tell you about this. So using logic, we know that the attack at Old Dominion today was on the ROTC, the military. That's a symbol that is going to be, obviously they're trying to get to the military, scare people, that kind of thing, because that's the idea behind a terrorist attack. It's to scare people so that it keeps them from doing things. Okay, it's never worked on us in America. I'm pretty happy about that. But then you've got the guy who drove his truck into the synagogue today. Obviously he was targeting the Jewish people. It's that easy. He was targeting them. This first guy is going to be found to be a terrorist as well. I mean, he's got ISIS written all over him. If he wasn't unalived on the spot, then he'd have been going to prison for the rest of his life. He should have been deported. If you think that these people that are doing these things should be deported, do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat, because I'm going to check the chat right now. Let's see here. Why does it keep showing different amounts? Thank you. I appreciate you and what you're doing. We can call it tuition. Tuition. Okay. Hey, and Cole showed up. There you go. Let's see here. I think we stop all immigration from Muslim countries for the time being. We've done that before, and in fact, we had stopped immigration to all the immigration to all the known countries that supported terrorism. I'm going to say something, and this is for my Muslim friends, because I know there's probably some that watch this at some point, and my Arabic is really, really rusty, but la tajel yabdu sian. And roughly translated, this means don't make your people look bad. If you're a Muslim living in America, don't let these people make you look bad, okay? Because there are lots of Muslims that live in this country that are like, yes, America, number one. Where are you headed to? Turn the taxi meter on. You know what I'm saying? The stereotypical, you know what I'm saying? Go to New York City. That's what it looks like. Okay? And these people are not problem. They show up, they're hardworking, they pay their taxes. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, you know. We are the melting pot. We are that experiment that did work. And so, you know, we should not be pushing against all Muslim Americans, you know. But we should be prompting our Muslim Americans to be Americans and to not let these people make you look bad, because that's what happens. That's what's happening, you know. They have assimilated. Yeah, exactly. They understand. They know. They have their culture. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't pay me to go to New York City. Yeah, I mean, I've only been there a few times. You know, maybe 5 times ever. And it was not a place that I enjoyed. It really wasn't. I mean, I kind of like walking around on the streets a little bit, but during the daytime, in public view, you know what I'm saying? I was down in frickin' in Manhattan. It's a completely different place than some other places in New York City. In fact, last time I was in Manhattan, they were telling people do not go to like some of the other boroughs, because as soon as you get there, you're going to get robbed. So, let's see. Hard to hear, play poker. Well, I mean, at least you're here, Bradley. At least you're here, my friend. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end that segment there on our Muslim friends and the threat of the I mean, unless you guys have something you want to talk about on that subject, you need to put it in the comments like right now. Otherwise, we're going to move on. But the whole threat of, you know, sleeper cells. That's what they're doing, all right, because they're fat and happy on McDonald's and Taco Bell. I heard you say that. There you go. Okay, so what was that? My phone was making some noise. Nope, nothing. All right, so with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. And kind of sticking to the theme of the thumbnail and the verbiage in the video description and the title, we're starting to see an issue with, if you have seen, listen to me carefully, if you have seen like major pushback in every direction on social media about what Captain Red Tie has done over there in Iran, and like, oh, he's going to have to do this. Oh, boots on the ground that. Oh, we're going to run out of bullets. You know, oh, Iran prepared for this. Oh, if you're seeing all that, put a 1 in the chat, because I'm very, very curious. My social media footprint is much larger than yours, because I'm dancing around in there all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? You guys have to actually work for a living. Hey, what's up, Cindy? Good to see you. Good to see you. You know, but I'm like in there all the dang time. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that it's happening. It's coming at the administration in every single direction. And unfortunately, it's over there in the MAGA / red tie region. They're just fickle. It's like, America, support your president until he does something that you don't understand, and then scream like a little girl, you know. Let's see, and how it in Iran. Oops, I did see that about an hour ago, but that's not what happened. There was a KC-135 refueling plane that went down, but it went down over Iraq, and they haven't been specific as to what happened yet. So that's one of those things we'll probably never really know the truth about. I think it's all about which article you're reading, to be honest with you. And unfortunately, 95% of the stuff that's online right now is all negative towards America. So, Lamb's Light shut up. Good to see you. Good to see you. Cole says, I watched a report yesterday about left-leaning and foreign organizations paying influencers to turn on Trump. Wow. Wow. That is mind-blowing. You know, I hate to say this, but that's very reminiscent of that video that I made about, actually, no, my last live stream was about basically, are you being red-pilled? But there was a hard question because you were actually, the whole thing we talked about was being blue-pilled. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Iraq makes a diff. Well, technically, they're not our enemy. And technically, we have bases in Iraq. So it does make a difference, but I don't know if it makes a lot. The Iraqis and the Iranians have hated each other for years. So there's that. But yeah, we are kind of being blue-pilled like crazy people. And people are kind of, you know, I don't know if they're being paid or not. I have got some emails from different companies saying, hey, would you like to make $4,000 for 10 hours of work? And I'm like, huh? You know, it's one of those, it's too good to be true things. And I honestly wouldn't want to be part of something like that, regardless of who supported it, because it falsifies things, you know. Let's see here. Well, only a dumbass refuses refusals over targets. Oops, I don't know what that means. Oh, refuels over targets. Well, we don't know that. Once again, we don't know that's what was happening either. There's a lot of speculation out there, you know, refuels over targets. Maybe it was just on its way to land someplace, you know. Maybe it just had a problem, you know. Let's see here. Tim says, didn't Iraq send their planes to Iran when Desert Storm started? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. That's what I'm saying. But also 20 years before that, they were at war. You never heard of the Iraq-Iran war? Yes, please. It's all pretty crazy. It's all pretty crazy, you know. And Iran refused to let Iraq have them back. I know, right? Those bastards, those dirty ragheads. Of course, I'm saying that jokingly. It's kind of funny. But getting back on point, there's a thing where we're kind of getting blue-pilled. But before we get into that, has anybody heard about like officials buying bunkers? If you have, put a 1 in the chat. If you have not, put a number 2 in the chat, because I'm not seeing the participation tonight that I would expect from the type of viewers that I expect, because I expect what I expect. God knows, you would think I'd be drunk by now, but I'm just drinking iced tea. So let's see here. Iran took control of one of our top drones a few years back and reverse engineered it. I don't know about that. That sounds like more speculation. They have shot down some of our drones before. You know, especially the what was that? I think the one you're referencing is the one, it's like the black stealth drone, the one that doesn't actually exist. They reproduced it from pictures. Which world leader do you think is most worried right now? I think Xi or the leader of Cuba. Well, I don't know about worried. But I would say concerned about what comes next. the leader of Cuba, I believe that was Fidel Castro's son. I'm not sure. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't understand. Sometimes people are just too stupid for their own good. I don't understand how a completely failing country where the leader is holding power literally by force wouldn't want an ally, the biggest economic engine on the planet that's 90 miles north of their little island, to be their friend. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. He could still be like, hey, we're going to be friends with the Americans, but I'm still in power and you should know that. It's really that easy. It's really that easy. Okay? He wouldn't have to give up anything and he'd be like the king, you know what I'm saying? He'd be like, this guy's cool. We finally got smart. Now we can have cars that weren't made in 1947. Yay. I would say that China is in a serious pickle because, as I understand it, 90% of their oil is imported, and they receive a huge mega buttload of it from Iran, and now they're having to get that oil from Venezuela, which is basically America 2.0 kind of. You know what I'm saying? So I think that clearly this assault on Iran has a lot to do with hurting China's economic engine. So that's something to think about. Bradley says we have a powered system that can take down electronics at like 200 or 20 kilometers. Yeah. We have things that most people have no idea we have. DARPA's there for a reason. We in contracting, we used to call some of the devices DARPA dark because it's like the darkest of devices. Let's see here. Lamb's Light says, does Cuba have anything at all to offer? Anything? No, they don't. But Americans generally are very giving, and they want to help people. And they literally would just have to make like one infomercial, and Americans will be like, "Oh yeah, finally, these guys finally came to the table. Yeah, hell yeah, let's start sending them money." We need a friend that close to us. We need a friend in this hemisphere. So yeah, I think that's what would happen. Cuba has more mouths for welfare. I know that sucks, right? But the thing is it wouldn't have to be that way. It wouldn't have to be that way. The assumption is that they would become like some kind of district like Puerto Rico or something. No, we could just be friends with them. We could just help them. We could just bring businesses in there, and create jobs, and that creates income, and then that puts food on the table. You know what I'm saying? And then the great circle of life and death begins. They're just a little happier, and maybe they have a collared shirt and a car that wasn't made in 1924. You know what I'm saying? We're no one's talking about making Cuba the 50 what would that be, the 53rd state? You'd have to get in line behind Alberta. Let's see. All right, so getting back on point. So there's been a lot of talk about the people in the administration like buying bunkers. And I think that these may be the same people that thought like, Trump's never going to do that. He's never done. No, he's all talk. Blah, blah. Oh, crap. He just went to Iran. So I think that could be one of the things that's happening, but I'm not exactly sure. There are several articles out there. I'm going to change the screen real quick here. There are several articles out there that I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on that. There we go. Make your screen a little cleaner. Well, that's not what I wanted to see. That's not what I want to see. So there are several articles out there that talk about Trump officials are suddenly buying doomsday bunkers. And this is from March the 9th. So basically like 3 days ago, right? Got Ron Hubbard, the creator of Atlas Survival Shelter, told The Telegraph, which is English, over the weekend that orders have gone up tenfold since the United States and Israel attacked Iran earlier this month. And then even going on to say that bunker building is like being a farmer. When it's time to harvest, you have to reap what you can. So basically, oh yeah, you want a bunker? I'll make you a bunker. This is how much it's going to cost you. But these are things that are actually happening. All right, slackers, listen up. Here's the deal. Refuge. None of that was the right screen to push. I pushed the wrong button. But, you know, the 53rd state is the UK. No. The UK has nothing to do with America. But there's a lot of it that is actually going around, and oddly enough, you got to check this out. So this is out there on the Facebooks. This is an organization called Occupy Democrats, and they are as far left-leaning as you can get. And they're even talking about how a bunker builder claims 2 Trump cabinet officials are secretly preparing for doomsday as Iran war sparks fear. Honestly, it seems like the end of times are very close, quote. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of this is regurgitated from that article itself. There's a lot of the text that is the same. But even the Democrats on the far left are saying these kinds of things. And so they're a little worried. They're just a little bit worried. I've got a short 1 minute 47-second video for you guys to take a look at to give you a little bit of information, and hopefully this plays out right.
Preparing for the end of the world or just a short war?
Okay. And I'll have somebody come and talk to you as soon as possible, okay? We've seen a large
All right, guys,
spike
hold on
since
a
the war in
second.
Iran, primarily
I'm
from
sorry,
the Gulf
hold on.
states, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE primarily.
Preparing for the end of the
Here we
world
go.
or just a
I
short
thought it was
war?
working.
Either way, this bunker has blast doors and a decontamination area to keep you covered. Inside the bunker, beds, a kitchen and a bathroom. Here in Texas, Atlas Survival Shelters designs and manufactures a whole range of options.
Our $25,000 backyard bunker, which is only for 4 people, but it's designed to keep a family of 4 alive for up to 7 days. To our larger bunkers that can cost millions of dollars, that can keep somebody alive in them for a year, 2, or even more, depending on their food, their water, and their power supplies.
The company installs its bunkers directly at the customer's premises, sometimes several meters underground. Its models offer a wide range of options, from wine cellars to armories. Customers include celebrities such as social media influencer Andrew Tate, reality TV star Kim Kardashian, and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. And right now, demand from the Middle East is on the rise. A customer calls from Dubai.
You want to prepare for the end of the world. Okay. And I'll have somebody come and talk to you as soon as possible, okay? We've seen a large spike since the war in Iran, primarily from the Gulf states, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE primarily. Ironically, we opened our offices in Dubai on February 26, 48 hours before the war started.
Around 20 steel containers are ready to be shipped. Another 40 are currently being produced. Driven by concerns about the war, the company expects to achieve a higher turnover in the next 2 months than it has in the last 3 years.
In the conflict there, and he vowed to finish the job, even though it's
My God, get a new microphone. It's like I turn one thing off and another thing gets turned on. I've literally had to go back. This is the third time, right? You guys can hear me now, right? Someone give me a 5x5 or something. So I don't start again for the third time. I love the silent reaction. Don't even tell me no sound. I can see the little meter on my screen that says I have sound. Now it's back on. Okay. And thank you, Tim. Get a new microphone. I'm gonna get the best microphone I can get for $2. Okay. Anyway, well, so here's the thing. I can control it on the screen and I can control it here on the microphone. This is a really good microphone. The problem is I can't remember which one I turned it on and off. And if I'm not paying attention, like I said, I'm doing like the job of 5 people when I make these things for you guys. But anyway, so here we go. One more at a time. So crazy weapons, Bradley. The big thing is acoustic weapons. If they point one of these things right at your head and they like turn it on, it's like, and speak, it's like having the voice inside your head. If they crank it all the way up, you're gonna have a bad freaking day. Okay. There was some talk about the use of laser weapons, but not in the like burn a hole through you Star Trek style type lasers. These are more for ocular and auditory things. Billy King, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, man. All right. So with that said, no more talk of alien stuff. I meant microwave. Microwave weapons are actually against the Geneva Convention, and because it's basically it's a microwave. That's why they put microwave towers up kind of tall, that in line of sight, that kind of thing. You don't want to be around a microwave. All right, let's see here. I love the silent reaction, no sound. Now it's back on. 5x5. Billy King says hi. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make some adjustments, but while I do that, I'm going to need you guys just watch this. I got to pay some bills. All right, slackers, listen up. Here's the deal. Refuge Medical. Best medical training and equipment company on the planet. You guys, it's just smart. This is where I make the videos. I'm not. That's right.
That was easy.
Oh, yeah. And here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. Refuge Medical. Here's why. Here's the why. Smart. Real. American. Guys, if you're not catching all this, if you're not catching what I'm putting down, I don't know what to tell you. But here's the deal. Guys, if you're going to spend any money on any type of trauma gear, medical gear whatsoever, and find that gear now. Why? Because it's made by Americans, in Americans, for Americans, sourced with American logistics, not a joke. It's just that easy. It's that easy. It's that. It's easy. All right, let's go back to the video. Okay, so let's see here. City Office says, was attacking desalinization plants true, and is it against the Geneva Convention? No, it is not against the Geneva Convention. So you've got the Geneva Conventions, and you have war crime tribunals. The Geneva Convention is basically the rules and playbook for war, how to have a nice war. If you do something that would be considered a war crime, then you could be charged in a war crimes tribunal. That's different. But yes, they did. The Israelis did attack a desalinization plant. It was on an island. It actually, as far as military targets go, it makes perfect sense. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me. Should I do maps, or I'll just do maps? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let's see where this map turns on. Not where I wanted to, but zoom out, move over. Here we go. Okay, so you've probably seen a picture that looks similar to this. Let me turn this on for you. You've probably seen a picture that looks similar to this, you know, all over the damn place. Well, that desalinization plant was on this Iranian island right here. It's actually in Qashem. That's the only desalinization plant for the entire island. So they get all of their water on this island from that desalinization plant. All right. So as a military target, if they can't make water, then they can't sustain the fight in there. And well, you see what that does? That widens the gap. You know what I'm saying? This is only about 40 miles right here. Okay. And that widens the gap. If they can't keep military guys here drinking water, then they got to move them off. You know what I'm saying? And then that creates basically a weak spot in Iran's defenses. It's a problem. Now, Iran does have little military naval bases out on these little islands over here, but it's not really a huge thing. But the desalinization plant, no, it was not against the Geneva Convention. No, it's not a war crime. We are not at war. And yeah, that's the deal. That's the deal. Something else to look at too is ship. Let's go to ship container tracking. Ship container tracking. Something's happening. Oh wow. Look at that. So a lot of these ships right here, how they line them up, these are all ships. They're likely at anchor, but what they're doing is they're trying to create routes. Now, this could very well be Iranian ships. This is UAE, and it says that it's moored. So they actually have mooring lines out here. That's why you see these perfectly straight lines. And then there's like little passage routes, like this is a passage route, and then this is a passage route through the Straits. They're saying that the Iranian ships are getting through because they're Iranian ships. And they're saying that one ship actually made it through that was not Iranian. So there's still nothing going through the passage. Okay. This is technically the Strait right here. All right. Because this is all shallow water. So what's going to happen? I couldn't tell you. But yeah, they had a bad day. They had a bad day. Okay, so let's go ahead and push this button over here. What other questions we got there in the chat here? Because we may have just ran through all the other things. We still have about 15 minutes left. They're starting to say stuff like Trump's panic is exposed. Where are we at here? Trump's panic exposed his war strategy to Iran. Financial Times journalist. Really? That's what he did? I don't think so. Basically, they're trying to say that Trump only expected a 12-day conflict. That's absolutely ridiculous. 100% ridiculous, because the way the shackles, the restraints were taken off of the military to accomplish these known objectives. And then once those known objectives are complete, the idea is that would be enough to make Iran go, maybe we should stop being stupid. Will it happen that way? I don't know. But even if we just destroy every piece of military hardware that they have, and then, like, say, don't do that anymore and then leave, it would still be technically a military victory. So, you know, there's things like that. Where are we at here? The Trump triggers world financial panic as war chaos spirals. You know, it's always these, you know, panic, chaos, spirals. You know what I'm saying? It's always these dramatic words that don't really mean anything. Allies fear Iran will leave them without U.S. weapons they bought. Of course, it's political, right? I mean, come on, right? The idea is that people or countries that bought our weapons won't be able to get their weapons that they paid for because we'll be too busy using them on Iran. So that's even some of the stuff that's coming out that's a little crazy. All right. Cindy says the news keeps changing the amount of time length predictability by Trump or others. Cindy, I honestly don't listen to any of that crap. I'm telling you right now, do not listen to any of that crap. Okay. So, and let me give you a piece of advice on how the military actually works when the military is allowed to do their jobs. So, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. If I worked for you and my job was to clean houses, and I had a 10-person team to clean houses, and I could send 5-person to each house, and that house would be done in one day, and you gave me 10 houses, okay? So that means that I can do 2 houses per day, equaling 5 days. So in 5 days, I should have cleaned those houses. But if something happens, if something goes wrong, it's important to remember that the goal was to clean those 10 houses, not they need to be ready in 5 days. When you put artificial timelines on military operations, you are fating them to fail. 100%. That's exactly how it works. 100%. You don't know how many times I got in a helicopter and didn't know when I was coming back because there was a mission. There were objectives to accomplish that mission, and that's the way the military really works. What we're so used to seeing under the Obama and the Biden years was that these military objectives were all fake. There was nothing there. You know, there were rules of engagements that weren't plausible in any type of place where war actually was taking place. They were handcuffed. We've been watching our military be handcuffed for years. And I can attribute all of this kind of crap all the way back to one moment in time. Tell me if you guys remember this. It was during the first month of Obama's first administration or first term. There was this Ivy League college professor who got uppity with a police officer that ended up in him being taken down on camera by the police department. And somehow that became something the president of the United States had to comment on. Do you guys remember that? Put a 1 in the chat. I'll wait. Let's see here. News keeps changing. How likely is to be extended conflict like Iraq? I would say no. I would say he's got 60 days under the War Powers Act to do his job, and that's what he's going to do. Lambslight says, if this were 1934 and Trump was president, he would go after Hitler and the Dems would pitch a fit. It's true. Absolutely true. How dare you do your job? How dare you win? You know what I'm saying? We can't do anything politically when you're winning. How dare you? You know what I'm saying? So Tim remembers, right? So that was the point in time, in my mind, when this all became everything, every single thing became politically publicized at the highest level of government for absolutely no reason. And we started getting so involved at the federal level, in the U.S., the president's administration was getting so deep into the weeds and the nuances of the world that everything was about. Do we have a comment from the president on this? How is a man supposed to do that job? How is a woman supposed to do that job when they've got a comment on every little whiny ass over academicite who decided he was smarter than the cops? You know what I'm saying? That's when it happened. That's when it happened. Let's see. I want a military analyst, so don't need. I was a military analyst, so don't need explanation, just discussion. Thank you. Boom. So you know what I'm talking about. Exactly. Let's see here. Cindy Hoffman says 60 days can get a lot done. Doing great for the short term. Oh, yeah. What are we on? Day 10, 12, something like that? I mean, come on. It hasn't even been 2 weeks. And video after video after video. You know, I had some of them queued up. I was going to watch some of them just for some motivation. Just for some motivation. Let's do some motivation. Let's do some motivational stuff. CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command. Boom, boom, boom. That's where I heard about the KC-135. U.S. Central Command is aware of the loss of the KC-135 refueling aircraft. The incident occurred in friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury, and rescue efforts are ongoing. 2 aircraft were involved in the incident. One of the aircraft went down in the western Iraq, and the second landed safely. So this sounds like a mid-air collision. That's what this sounds like. All right, let's see here, and let's watch some of the. This is the newest video they've put out. I'm going to watch that one on the big screen. Kaboom! People are dead. We should not be politicizing that. You know what I'm saying? We should not be saying this is a happy time. That was a ballistic missile. Another ballistic missile. Come on. Come on. Another ballistic missile. You can do it. I believe in you. That was a bomb. And it's funny too, because that was in that last one. That was a Reaper drone that was. I can't tell you exactly what it was doing, but it was working with an airplane. And then these ones came out this morning. They're my favorite so far. So this is a Cub. This is a Russian Cub. I'm sorry, that's one of the old C-130s. If you guys didn't know this, Iran used to be an ally to the United States in the 60s and 70s. We sold them all sorts of stuff. That's a C-130. That is a U.S. made C-130. I thought it was a Cub at first, but no, that's a C-130. You can tell by the way the glass is shaped up front. And then poop, down it goes. On fire, all the fuel's in the wings. Basically, that's the box. They shoot it in the box. That's a P-3 Orion. That's an anti-submarine ship that's made in the United States. That's a Russian. I'm not sure of that. I don't think that's a Cub, but that's a Russian military asset. That's just a zoomed out version of it. There we go. And then we're back to that one because that's one of the best ones. Yeah. That's the wing box that they shoot it in. Okay, so with all that said, let's go on here. Let's see. Just got notification, Cal, live at 7:30. I'm sorry. It would be like Trayvon Martin. Lems, I said, listen, I have a family in Alberta. The things they believe, they must just eat a diet of The View and CNN. They really hate Trump. Won't listen. Yeah, because they're fed that. And unfortunately, the entire Canadian government are socialists. There's like one or two guys, but they just can't get in the word edgewise. You know what I'm saying? There's no because even though the government screwed them over during the frickin' the whole trucker thing, froze their bank accounts, put them in jail. I mean, even though they did that, the people are still the sheeple are still very happy about what their government is doing, even though their government is doing all of these bad things to everybody, because they've been like, I wouldn't say they've been brainwashed. I would say they just went along with it. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you for that. $2. $2-rinos. How much show you? How much? About $3.50. About $3.50. $2. What movie is that from? Did I get that right? Cat food. There you go. Cindy, I can't buy cat food for $2. It's like $5.89 for a small bag of dry food. But it'll all go towards that, I promise. I don't understand it, then truly seem brainwashed. Yeah, they are. They unfortunately, because they just have a different ideology, is what it comes down to. That just, it doesn't align with the American thought process. So, okay, guys, looks like we're running up on that 1 hour. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. I don't know if I'll do a live stream tomorrow. I'll figure that out here in the next hour. I can't make any promises because I probably covered a lot of stuff today that I would have covered on a Friday morning. So we're too polite to say anything. Partial payment. There you go. There you go. It's all appreciated, guys. It's all appreciated. And we almost made it. 9 out of 10. That's pretty freaking awesome. We made it last time. We made it out last time. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, guys. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. As usual, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. If you are prompted to watch another video after this, please do so, even if it's only for a few minutes. It does help, whether it's mine or not. It does not matter. I knew it, Tim. You had to do it. Tim had to do. All right, Tim, hold on. There you go, Tim. There you go. You happy? Pew, 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 pew. You happy? Okay. Mission accomplished. Banner. All right, guys. Stay safe. Have a great evening, and I shall see you when I see you. I got a couple other videos I'm working on. You guys will see those soon enough. All right. We'll talk to you all. Good night. I don't think I got a button to turn things off. Tim, you're amazing. I'm turning this thing off. Love you guys. Bye.